on Mythbusters.
Oh! 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 Yeah!
Everyone's going round in circles.
Whoa!
Adam and Jamie get sucked in by a famous nautical mystery.
Whirlpool after whirlpool after whirlpool.
Can whirlpools kill?
Is everybody ready for diving?
Tori, Carrie and Grant are in over their heads as well,
Something feels like it's dangerous. I'm not sure exactly what yet.
as they get snowed under by a snowplow.
There are cursed items in the world, and this is one of them.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman.
This is gonna kill you.
Between them, they have more than 30 years of special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about!
Joining them, Tori Bellecci,
Very excited about this.
Carrie Byron,
Look, he cracked into his skull.
and Grant Imahara.
Don't say anything.
They don't just collect myths, they put them to the test. Can a whirlpool kill? In the first part of this myth, Adam and Jamie will construct their own whirlpool and bid bon voyage to some scale model ships. And in part 2, they'll see what effect it has on a lone swimmer. First, they want to lay eyes on a real whirlpool. And they don't have to go far.
So, Hector, where am I going to find a couple of currents going against each other where I might see some whirlpools?
Right around the south tower right here, between this buoy and the south tower.
And bang on cue.
There's one right there.
And not just one, it's a virtual convoy of vortices, all brought about by the bridge pylon.
The water that's directly behind the piling is moving more slowly, and the onrushing water that's going past it is mixing with it, and you start with swirling.
But not all whirlpools are the result of obstacles in the water. Most oceanic whirlpools form when opposing currents meet head-on. As the currents start to swirl around each other, a vortex forms in the center, causing the water to spiral downwards. In some cases, the vortex can plunge to more than 100 meters. What happens to a boat that gets caught in such a whirlpool?
Well, I've got no hands on this thing, and it's moving us back and forth. That is a lot of power.
Right now we're going at about 3.5 knots and 40,000 pounds plus our weight on the boat.
Adam, I tell you what, these whirlpools may not do anything but make it a little squirrely to steer this boat, but if I was in the water with one of them, I think I'd be in a little bit of trouble. I don't know that it would pull me down so much, but it'd be definitely spinning you around. See, that's like 6-8 feet across.
Yeah.
And if you were in the middle of that, you'd be kind of like, you'd be a little upset.
Yeah.
All this unfettered nature is bringing out the beat poet in Jamie.
Whirlpool after whirlpool after whirlpool.
Maybe this explains the beret.
All of a sudden, I had an image of you at a poetry reading. Whirlpool after whirlpool after whirlpool. Green maw opening up to take me down. I had a pet lion.
And on that note, it's back to Myth Headquarters, where the Mythbusters will go head-to-head. Adam will fashion a pump-powered whirlpool, while Jamie will work on a paddle to churn the water. Adam has a small pump and a tank with a hole at the bottom. When the pump is switched on, the water is sucked down the hole, through the pump and recirculated. The result, a perfect conical vortex.
Oh, look at that. That would be a vortex. I'm able to maintain this vortex moving about 60% of the total volume of the vessel per minute. That means 60% of it's going down and coming back in.
And Adam being Adam, he can't resist staging a mock naval mishap.
Technically, if this was a real container ship, this whirlpool would be well over a mile in diameter. Here's a little boat, unsuspecting on the high seas, and oh no, it's a whirlpool! That would be bad.
So the pump works well. Now it's Jamie's turn. His rig has 2 metal paddles attached to a motor from a cordless drill.
330 RPM. The depth of the vortex is 9 inches. All right, let's move up to the medium-sized level. I want to kick it up a notch.
Kicking it up a notch means a larger tank, a larger pump, and larger blades on Jamie's paddle. But while Adam's early results are replicated perfectly...
14-inch vortex.
That's going all the way to the bottom, isn't it?
Going all the way to the bottom. It's a perfect vortex.
Jamie struggles to come to grips with the increase in size and speed.
That's pretty much all the way to the bottom, and that's 15 amps.
Okay.
They up the ante again. This time, a 190-litre tank. Once again, the pump provides an instant vortex.
Dude, perfect!
Jamie's not having the same success. His spinning paddles are threatening to take off.
We've still got a way to go. We're only at 8.5 volts.
Having trouble holding on to it. I'm really using a lot of strength.
There's no beautifully shaped vortex, just a violent churning.
It's more of like a huge depression. It's like you're slinging the whole ocean outward, and it's not really a suction vortex. It's just sort of centrifugal force throwing things away from the middle.
And between the two, I'd much rather get into the one that I made with the pump than get into a tank with that thing.
Funny you should say that.
You know, I've been thinking about this, and I think we also need to actually test it on a full-size person. What do you think?
Okay, I'll go in. I'm not gonna like it, though.
To see how much he's not going to like it, Adam makes a mini Adam.
He is not scaled to weight to us, and that was actually critical. I wanted to see what would happen if we were totally buoyant, like wearing life preservers in the Red Man suit. We drop in from the side. Whoa!
I wouldn't be at all surprised if you didn't just pass out. And if you pass out and you're in that water, unless you're tethered, you're screwed.
Once again, it looks like Adam will be going in over his head. Can a speeding snowplow blow your car off the road?
Adam, you grew up in a snowy part of the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So you're an expert on the snowplows.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of a snowplow blasting a car off the road as it passes?
No, in the winter that happens without any outside influence.
Well, one of our fans on the website claims to have seen exactly that. Snowplow with its plow up, passing on a freeway at high speed, blew a car clean off the freeway.
I'm extremely dubious.
To test this myth, they'll get a snowplow and a car, have them pass head-on at high speed, and see if the car ends up on its roof. Sounds simple. But this myth will push our intrepid trio to the limit.
This has been like the most troublesome myth I think we've ever done.
And for Grant, one of the most dangerous.
Where do you think we should start with this one?
Well, first of all, I want to know how much energy it takes to actually flip a car.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to do. We could take our scales so we can measure force and then pick off a few points and just try and pull it over with a static load.
You volunteering your car?
Not my car.
Well then, how about this one? Tori's been scouring the car yards, and this looks like it might be a pushover.
It has a high center of gravity. It has a short wheelbase. It's got a lot of surface area being so flat, and it's really lightweight.
To find out what it takes to knock this vehicle off its tyres, Tori lassos it, ties the rope to a force gauge, and attaches that to a pickup. Carrie counts off the pounds to the tipping point.
500 pounds, 1,000 pounds. 1,000 pounds it peaked at.
Then she calculates the surface area of one side and works out the pressure needed to push the vehicle over.
I've done the calculations. It's going to take 0.21 psi to flip this car. That's pounds per square inch.
They've got their test vehicle. Now they need a snowplow. Fortunately, Tori thinks he's found one for free. High in the mountains, this broken-down plough came to rest years ago, half buried in a wintry tomb. They should never have disturbed its sleep. Carrie, Tori, and Grant are about to face the curse of the snowplow. No one knows for sure how long it languished in that field. But it's certainly been long enough for it to become a rodent hotel.
I feel kind of bad now. This was his home.
Somehow, they've got to get this hunk of metal moving at 70 miles an hour or 110 kilometers.
Earlier, we noticed that this snowplow is only rated for a top speed of 45 miles per hour. Our target for this is 70 miles an hour. There's got to be a reason that they're rating it for that.
At the moment, they'd be happy if it moved at all.
Who knows why this thing won't roll? I mean, this thing is really old. It could be rusted. The wheels could be rusted, stuck. It could, the drive shaft might be stuck in the engine and we can't get it out of gear.
Tori's not happy. But a little elbow grease should get it rolling again.
Dude, there's so much grease on this axle that I'm basically just making a barbecue pit down here.
We'll get some hot dogs. Hang on.
Yeah. Hey, Carrie, the rat turds are almost done.
I think she likes hers rare.
When it does get going, they'll want to know how much air pressure's coming off the plough. Carrie builds a pressure gauge. It's a tube filled with coloured water. As air pushes in one end of the tube, the water level rises along a scale, marking off air pressure in pounds per square inch. An anemometer will also measure wind speed. As the plough's not yet working, to test the gauge, they bolt it to Jamie's truck and hit the road. You'd think that a vehicle this large and fast would generate a lot of air pressure. But does it?
How fast are we going?
We're at 65 miles an hour.
65? Because we're actually getting about a half-inch reading on here, which is, way less.
It took 0.21 psi to flip the test vehicle. Jamie's truck is pushing only a sixth of that. So, what hope is there for the snowplow? Tori's already hearing alarm bells.
You're driving down a two-way highway and a semi-truck flies by you, and I've had that happen where my car feels like it's going to go off the road just from the wall of air that it's pushing in front of it. So if I wasn't blown off the road by a semi, I don't think I would be blown off the road by a snowplow.
We'll never know, unless Tori can get this one running.
So you're just going to cut the drive shaft?
Pretty much. All of them.
Cutting the drive shafts will free the wheels from the rusted gearbox. On the next towing attempt, the plow creeps forward.
Stop! Good.
Yeah!
All right, cool.
So it moves.
It should work.
It works!
Nice!
But Grant's wheel woes aren't over yet.
One of your wheels isn't turning. It's just scraping along.
First run, top speed 2 miles per hour. We traveled a total of 50 yards. One of our tires is locked, and if that doesn't spin, it's going to create a lot of friction, and it may skew the truck in one direction or the other.
And so, the wheels come off this experiment, literally and metaphorically. But shedding them only leads to more trouble.
But when we got the last wheel off, the whole axle just dropped. All the suspension is totally off balance now, so the truck is pretty much useless until we get that wheel fixed.
It seems you get what you pay for.
Sometimes, you try to save money. You try to save money on the budget by getting things for free. But in the long run, after trying to get the thing for free to work, it would have actually been cheaper to buy a brand new truck.
This free plow is proving costly. Adam and Jamie plan to make a Whirlpool in order to see if a ship really can be sucked in true special effects style. They also plan to throw Adam in to see if he's swallowed whole. What they'll be wanting is a whirlpool like this one. It's the world's largest tidal vortex, and it swirls the waters off Deer Island Point in Canada. Nicknamed Old Sow, it can reach more than 60 metres in diameter and has been known to spin at a speed of around 14 knots, almost 3 times faster than the eddies Adam and Jamie saw under the bridge.
You know, I was concerned and wanted to make sure that our methodology for a full-scale whirlpool was super accurate, and actually I confirmed it with a couple of experts. Our recirculating pump method is absolutely the most accurate way to reproduce a tidal whirlpool.
Great. Well, we've got our pump, and our researchers also got us a 9,000-gallon tank. So that should be, you know, sufficient for our needs. And I suppose next we need to start thinking about the boats.
Well, we're not going to fit a real boat in there, so...
Obviously, yeah.
If we want to try something like a container ship, I'm going to have to make a scale one.
We should also make say something like a fishing trawler, or something that is smaller in real life as well.
That sounds great.
And so, a normal day in Myth headquarters turns into Christmas morning.
Look at that. It's the toy every kid wants. A container ship. Gee, thanks, Dad. Now I can replicate international commerce.
The container ship model is 550 times smaller than the real thing. A full-size trawler would be 50 times the size of a Model 1.
These boats are already the correct scale and size for us. I just have to make sure they sit at the right height in the water, their displacement's correct, and then, you know, we can run them into the whirlpool and see what happens to them.
Time is short, so he calls for backup.
We brought back Jess from the Mailbag Special.
Jess was one half of the girls' team trying to reproduce the Archimedes death ray.
There is a fierce competition going on right now, and we're okay with it because we know eventually we're going to win.
They didn't win.
I think that they cheated.
But it's that sort of fighting spirit that's required.
She's going to help me with some of the stuff to do on this boat, getting them leveled up and getting their displacement correct, so when the whirlpool's going, we have scale ships to test.
Jess's first job is to fill the hulls with lead shot, so the models displace a realistic amount of water.
It's just going to be too top-heavy, so I think we need to eliminate these altogether. But we should seal up this top so that it doesn't gather water.
While Jess gets everything ship-shape...
This is gold and purple. How much cooler does it get?
Adam and Jamie are off to the local dive shop.
Hello.
Hi, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Hello.
Hi.
If Adam's planning to jump into a whirlpool of death, 1 or 2 safety precautions would be useful.
And basically, it's a little tank with a purge valve. In an emergency, you would pull off that cover, hold it up, put your lips around here, purge it once, and then breathe off it normally.
Sounds easy, but just to make sure, Adam wants to test the emergency air tank in the dive shop training pool.
I know there's going to be payback, but I just couldn't resist.
Problem is, you'll never know.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Here you go. You're welcome.
They want to see how long it takes Adam to get the tank to his mouth. Jamie plays at being a whirlpool, pulling Adam under and spinning him round. On the first go, Adam's a little slow to react.
There was definitely a little bit of a moment of panic because you pulled me right under. Let's try that again.
Okay.
The tank starts to roll, Jamie's pulling. Whoa!
This time, he can breathe easy.
That is like the ultimate little secret agent thing. And, you know, it's what you'd want to have in your arsenal is like, dun, 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 you know, going under the water to go put the charge on the ship or something like that.
Even after that helpful simulation, Adam would rather not use it during the full-scale experiment. But if the model is anything to go on, that tank could be Adam's last gasp. The myth says a snowplow travelling at high speed can generate enough air pressure to flip a passing car. But first, Tori, Carrie and Grant are busting the myth that getting something for nothing is always better than paying for it.
You know, considering the man hours, wouldn't it have been a little bit cheaper to get a truck for maybe $1,000 that all the wheels roll on?
You know, it was free. That's the key word here, that it was free, so I don't know.
With one of its wheels frozen, the only thing this plow's likely to flip is Tori's lid. Finally, after almost 2 days and a lot of work...
Ah, look at that!
Progress!
Hey!
Check it!
Hey! You got it working!
The snowplow goes. The question now is, will it stop? Because braking will be crucial.
Unlike previous episodes where, you know, our braking system was, well, a crash, this time we just want the vehicles to pass each other and then be able to decelerate them after that.
There's only one way to find out if the plow's brakes work. They'll tow it along and have someone try them. That someone will be Grant. But Carrie's got a bad feeling about this.
I don't know exactly what it is about today and right now and what we're doing, but something feels like it's dangerous. I'm not sure exactly what yet, but something feels really dangerous.
And that would be different from usual, how?
Normally, Buster would be in the hot seat for a stunt like this. But not even he's a big enough dummy to volunteer for this job. Even though Grant will wear a crash helmet and a safety harness, Tori's getting jittery.
I don't think we should get you going at 70 miles an hour with you in it. I just don't think it's safe. If you can't stop fast enough, you might take another path into this, you know, to wherever.
For this run, they settle on a sedate 32 kilometers per hour, and they're wise to be cautious. After all, nothing on this relic has worked so far. What are the odds the brakes will?
All right, we're at 20 miles an hour.
We're at 20 miles an hour.
Okay, ready to brake in 3.
Ready to brake in 3, 2, 1, now.
Grant hits the brakes. He pulls the emergency brake, but still the plow doesn't stop. Instead, it runs over the tow chain.
Oh.
The chain snaps and the plow's off its leash.
Oh.
Lucky it was only a slow tow.
You okay?
Yeah.
Ooh. That was 20 miles an hour.
And we almost killed him.
Well, and okay, when the chain went to the side and your wheel actually took it, it also took the entire steering rig and knocked it. So if you were going 70, this thing would have flipped.
I hit the e-brake on the snowplow, and it just started veering off to the side, and it ran over the chain, which made the steering wheel violently whip all the way around, damaged one of our cameras, and it was pretty scary.
Those brakes have to work, so it's time to wheel in some professional help. Snowplow experts Pat Manning and Matt Edgman found the plow.
Well, it belonged to the county. From the county, it was given to one of our other mechanics. And when Eric called up, we sent it down to you.
Now, if they could just get the brakes to work.
Things that could be wrong with it, rust, water, all those things can complicate something on a vehicle this old.
Matt's more optimistic. He bleeds the brake system, and what do you know?
Hey, Grant, I think it's working. It's time to go for a ride.
You know, we've been out here for 3 days. This would have been the 4th day. You guys got it working in 45 minutes.
Oh, man.
That's fantastic. 3, 2, 1.
Well, sort of. Only half the wheels are braking. But after 3 days, that's enough to get Grant excited.
Yeah, baby, yeah! You guys rock!
Yeah!
Yeah! Okay, that's good. The brakes are working.
There's no way Grant or anyone else will be in either vehicle when the test happens. So he devises a remote-controlled braking rig for both the plow and the target vehicle. When he flips a switch, a linear actuator presses the pedal.
So I guess that's it.
As long as the pedal actually works. In the myth of the Whirlpool of Death, Adam's been doing a bit of research.
I actually think I've come across a super dramatic account of a whirlpool that sucked ships down. In 1980 in Louisiana, an oil drilling platform on a lake accidentally punctures a salt mine, and the entire lake drains into the salt mine, sucking down like over a dozen ships.
That vortex measured almost 20 meters in diameter. Amazingly, no one was injured in the bizarre accident, and 9 of the vessels actually popped back to the surface.
Well, that's great, but that's not what this story's about. This story's about tidal whirlpools, not boats getting sucked into a cave.
Fine.
The lads are ready to go full scale. All they need now is one very large tank.
This is our tank. It's 9,200 gallons. It's 10 feet wide and 16 feet tall, and it was specially made just for us.
First, Jamie cuts a hole in the bottom for the intake hose. The tank will have to sit above ground to leave room for the plumbing.
It is going to weigh about 45 tons, and it's got a drain right out the bottom. And we need to have some space for that, but also be able to support the whole thing. So these railway ties are a platform for that to sit on and also allow us to pump, recirculate the water.
They'll use a 200 horsepower construction pump capable of moving over 20,000 litres a minute.
Which should provide enough energy to get this whole close to 10,000 gallons of water swirling and create a vortex.
One massive hose will carry water away from the tank. A second will put it back in the top. Soon, they've got a monolithic version of Adam's benchtop setup. Now, just add water. Jess fills a water truck from a hydrant.
How do I know when it's full?
The truck holds 9,000 litres, and filling it takes about 30 minutes. The tank holds more than 40,000 litres, which means it'll take hours to fill, even with the weather pitching in.
It seems that Mother Nature is providing us a little topping off of our water tank. We're going to do this experiment no matter what. They say hell or high water. Well, that's precisely what's happening here.
The Mythbusters want to flip this vehicle using only the air pressure coming off the snowplow. The plow and the target vehicle will each have 450 meters of towing cable attached. The cable will be fed through a system of pulleys, which will allow the towing vehicles to move away from the track.
These are our road barriers that we're going to be using to anchor our pulleys. Right now they're empty. We're going to fill them up with water, and after we're filling them with water, they'll weigh around 1,200 pounds. Trying to get these two vehicles to pass as close as possible. If this moves at all, that's going to change the course of our vehicles, and then, that's going to destroy our experiment.
Before getting the vehicles to pass, they have to make sure Grant's remote braking rig can stop the plow.
We're going to hook it up to the 1,500 feet of cable, tow it through the pulley system, and then brake, and pray that everything works.
And if it doesn't...
I'm laying sandbags down for the last Hail Mary. In case the brakes don't work, it'll slow down the snowplow and we won't end up busting our barriers.
Are we ready to go?
I'm ready to go. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
How confident are you in these brakes?
Oh, pretty confident.
Okay.
Let's hope that confidence isn't misplaced. If the brakes don't work, the plow will plow straight into the barriers.
Okay, Carrie, call out the miles per hour as you accelerate, and when you hit 70, get ready for a little bump.
Okay, rolling in 3, 2, 1.
Like some horror movie monster, the plow lurches to life.
10 miles.
They're aiming for 70 miles per hour, or around 110 kilometers. But the car's struggling to get the plow up to speed. Carrie only reaches 40 mph, 65 kilometers, before Grant has to brake.
Okay, I'm gonna brake. 3, 2, 1. Oh, crap.
The plow appears unfazed.
Oh, no! Oh, man.
Well, let's see
I guess
if
that would be 100% carnage.
Tori's 100% correct.
I think that rear wheel that's been giving us problems locked up again, and we're dragging that. I fired the actuator, and, well, just kept right on trucking.
This is how things usually look after a Mythbusters experiment, not before.
Oh!
It just sliced them. Well, I'm not happy. We weren't able to get the truck to stop. Our steering mechanism has been ripped off the truck, so I'll have to re-weld that back on. We've destroyed 2 road barriers, and tomorrow we're supposed to do the experiment. I'm thinking we're gonna build a wall of sandbags.
At least
that might be our best bet to stop this thing.
You mean, so you spent 3 days on a remote control trigger and we're gonna put a wall of sandbags in front of it? All right, this has been like the most troublesome myth I think we've ever done.
The curse of the snowplow strikes again. Back at the big tank, Adam's itching to know if his plan to pump start a Whirlpool will work in 40,000 litres of water. So they fire up the pump and give it a whirl.
Ho, ho, ho! Yeah!
I guess we judged it right.
Oh, that is so, oh man!
In fact, it's working too well. Nature's fastest vortex moves at 40 knots, about 42 revolutions a minute, which looks something like this. Remember, they've got 2 scale model ships. What happens when they scale down the Whirlpool to match?
1/50th scale? That's 1 revolution per minute.
Which looks like this. And the 1 to 500 scale container ship?
That's 1 revolution every 10 minutes.
Which is practically motionless. So, after all that, their scale experiment simply won't work. But leave it to Adam to put a positive spin on things.
So I think we look at this as a damage experiment. We see where the ship starts sustaining actual danger and damage of sinking, and then we calculate what the speed is and see how that compares to real-world whirlpools. All right, this is our 1/500 scale container ship. It's actually 1,000 feet long in real life, like the ones behind me.
If this ship were real, it would be traveling at 370 kilometers per hour. Even then, it's not in any danger of being sucked down.
So in terms of scale of a naturally occurring whirlpool, that's busted. That's going 20 times faster than the fastest whirlpool ever recorded.
So it's like over 200 knots or something, right?
Yeah, it's way off the charts.
So now we have to find out what it would take.
The pump roars to life, and soon a vortex of supernatural strength opens up. The ship goes down without a trace.
Oh, it's down to Davy Jones' locker, isn't it?
All right.
That's about like, Mach 3 or something, is it? Would you say?
That whirlpool was like a half mile in diameter.
Well, that's what it took.
Time for boat test number 2.
All right, so this is a 1/50th scale fishing trawler. In real life, it's about 70 feet long, and it's heading towards what would be a pretty significant anomaly there. Whoa! Oh! At this point, it's going about 130 knots. And that's not creating a vortex that's enough to suck this thing down.
Yeah.
That's 4 times, 5 times as fast as the fastest vortex ever recorded.
But the trawler's not even taking on water. Jess poses the question on everyone's lips.
So what I want to know is how much it will take to suck this little boat down.
All right, well, let's start up the pump.
This vortex would be 45 meters in diameter, moving at more than 100 knots. Anchors away. And the fishing trawler becomes the catch of the day.
Now, that is the kind of whirlpool they write about in fiction. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as that kind of whirlpool in that scale in the real world.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be great if it was?
I think we've already proved that there is no vortex large enough that could suck down a ship as large as a container ship. Even a 70-foot-long ship, the tidal flow required to create a vortex that could suck it down is not possible on this planet.
This has been one problem plow.
This is a cursed item. It's everything we try and do to it goes wrong.
So, will they actually bust this myth? Can a snowplow blow a car off the road?
This snowplow is kicking our butts. There's no way we're gonna have time to test to see how much wind the regular plow is pushing.
Okay, well, I say to save time, from here on out, we build the largest plow we possibly can. I mean, something ridiculously large that's, you know, as tall as a cab, but still drivable on the road. If that can't flip it, nothing will.
Way to cut to the chase.
I like it. Let's do that.
The plow's been behaving like Frankenstein's monster. Now, he's starting to look like him too. They weld a steel frame to the existing plow and attach sheets of plywood. They hope that the added surface area will funnel a strong enough blast of air to flip the vehicle. Meanwhile, just for a change, Grant's fixing the brakes.
We had a brake system failure yesterday, and Matt, our snowplow expert, came in today, had a look at it, and he thinks that we weren't pressing down the pedal far enough. So what I've done is welded up a new bracket, and I've pushed it in.
With that done, the truck is ready to roll again. The metal missiles will be towed towards each other. For maximum safety, the cable's been threaded through a system of pulleys, so the tow vehicles can head away from the track and away from danger.
Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
The plow extension will increase drag, meaning it'll be even harder to bring the lumbering beast up to 70 miles per hour or 110 kilometers. Nevertheless, the tow vehicles take off.
Okay, the snowplow's moving.
And the target vehicle's moving great.
Nice.
There's no turning back now. The plow hits a personal best of 60 mph, or 95 kilometers per hour. Will they cross paths or crash head-on? They pass like jousting knights with just over a meter between them. The target vehicle doesn't so much as tilt. All four wheels remain firmly on the tarmac. They finally have a successful test. All that's left is for Grant to bring both vehicles to a gentle stop.
Okay,
total devastation.
This looks like a bad thing, but it really isn't. Because
Why is it not a bad thing?
I'll tell you why. We have the snowplow driving at top speed, going across the road here, and the car passed it, and it didn't get blown off the road. So we show that you cannot blow a car off the road with a snowplow.
The superplow is nothing but smashed plywood and twisted metal.
It looks like urban destruction.
I bet this is gonna be a really good shot.
Carrie's right, it is. The brakes obviously failed again. Or did they? Grant's got a confession.
Forgot to activate the brake.
You didn't activate the brakes!
Well, I activated it after crashing into the barrier.
I knew there was something up because that went right through.
Yeah, well.
That was good.
Yeah, I think that's why my snowplow looks like that.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, no one appears too upset.
I'm glad Grant didn't hit the brakes. because there's nothing better than seeing that truck destroyed because it's given us so many problems. I'm happy.
What is this?
This is the door from the snowplow. We decided to keep it. Why? I don't know, because we had so many problems with that snowplow. We should just melt it down, but I guess we're going to keep it as a reminder.
I take it wasn't the easiest myth to bust.
Yeah.
No, we did everything we possibly could. We used an unfeasibly large snowplow, the biggest plow that our expert concedes he'd ever seen.
Also, we used a really small, lightweight car.
And we did get the car to pass the snowplow about 4 to 6 feet apart. At 60 miles an hour, nothing happened.
Nothing.
It didn't flip.
So that would make this one pretty easily
busted.
Busted?
Clearly busted.
You guys aren't looking forward to revisiting it anytime soon?
I don't think we need to.
No.
Don't write to Tori about this one.
Don't do it again.
And just to make sure the snowplow's curse is lifted forever, the Mythbusters take sweet revenge.
It's over now.
The curse is over.
The curse has ended. That's it. No more.
The plow, the curse, and the myth all busted. The Whirlpool of Death myth has gone down the drain. Adam and Jamie have shown that no natural whirlpool is powerful enough to swallow a ship.
Well, it's down to Davy Jones' locker, isn't it?
But what about a person? That we're about to find out.
How many other people get a chance to jump into a huge man-made vortex?
Don't think many are queuing up, actually.
Is everybody ready for diving?
As excited as he is, Adam won't just dive into the tank. He'll hold on to a trapeze which Jamie can raise or lower. Even so, it's risky. If Adam loses his grip and gets swallowed, the emergency air supply will offer only a handful of breaths.
All right, I'm going in.
All right, be careful.
Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, I'm holding onto the trapeze, and I'm really nicely buoyant, and I'm ready for the pump.
The water will be moving at the same speed as the world's fastest natural whirlpool, about 14 knots.
Starting to form, Adam.
Oh, that is cool!
The vortex gathers strength. Adam starts to feel suction pulling him down.
Whoa! Oh, wow, I can totally feel it in my feet. That is cool! Woo! Whoa!
After less than a minute, Adam's whirlpool pirouette is making him giddy. Jamie cuts the pump before he can lose his grip. Adam's body stops spinning, but not his head.
Are you okay?
Have you ever really looked at the sky?
For my money, that was about as good as it gets in terms of a whirlpool.
Well, I would agree, actually. And I would say that if I hadn't been tethered, I would definitely have been sucked down by that. But, so I would say that we could conclude a naturally occurring whirlpool could be lethal to a swimmer, but not a boat.
We didn't really see it go all the way down because I was kind of keeping you up out of the water. Do you feel comfortable with letting yourself be lowered a little further to where you're going to get your head underwater?
Yeah, I don't feel that great. I feel a little queasy, but I think I can handle one more test.
When Adam says he's feeling queasy, they should know something's up. Or about to come up. No sooner does Jamie lower the trapeze
Stop the boat!
than the experiment reaches its predictable, some would say inevitable conclusion. Heave-ho indeed.
Did you get that?
Well, that's great.
Smells like pizza.
Welcome aboard, Jess.
Yeah! The moment you gave me a little slack, my head went right under the water. It was really, really clear that even at that slow speed, the force was really powerful. Now, I'm done with science for today.
You don't look so good, Adam.
No, if I hadn't been tethered to the trapeze, I would have totally gotten sucked down. Absolutely. The force was really shocking. And to boot, I was booting. I mean, it made me really sick. There's no way you'd be able to survive that. If you were in scuba gear, you'd be aspirating into your scuba gear. That is a deadly thing we made.
Well, as near as I can tell, that was around 14 knots. That's close to the record speed that's ever been recorded in oceanic whirlpool.
So where does that leave us for this myth? Busted, plausible, or confirmed?
Well, I would say that would be busted.
I'd say for boats, it's busted. And for people, it's plausible.
Yeah, don't get in the water if you see a whirlpool.
You okay with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Go get warm, buddy.
So, for the whirlpool of death, it's boats busted, swimmers beware.